Okay, let's drop you right into the action ringside for what was a really, really pivotal night in WWE. We're talking about the last stop, the final moments before Summerslam kicked off. Welcome to the Deep Dive. This week, we are getting into World Wrestling Entertainment's Monday Night Raw. That's episode hashtag 1679. It aired July 28th, 2025, live from Detroit. And we've got a pretty detailed report from the event, covers everything, the promos, the matches, backstage stuff, the works. Our mission, as always, is to really unpack what went down, look at the character motivations, those rivalries heating up, and some pretty shocking developments that set the stage perfectly for SummerSlam. We want you to understand not just what happened, but, why it really matters in the grand scheme of things.
Absolutely, and it started on, well, kind of a solemn note, didn't it? That tribute to Hulk Hogan, 10 bells, the video package.
Yeah, that was unexpected. A reminder of legacy.
Definitely. But almost immediately after that moment of, I guess, unity, Raw just plunged us headfirst into the complete opposite. The fracturing of family with the Bloodline.
Right. Talk about a mood swing.
Yeah.
Straight away, Jey Uso comes out. Huge entrance through the crowd, celebrating with everyone. He looked absolutely pumped.
Totally hyped. And then Paul Heyman's music hits.
Instant shift in the building.
Oh, yeah. And Heyman, he does what he does best. The master manipulator steps in, says he wants to speak former Bloodline member to former Bloodline member, all about family.
But it wasn't exactly a friendly chat, was it?
Not at all. He just starts unloading these unsettling claims. Your mother lied about Santa Claus. Your father, Rikishi, lied about your potential.
Oh, hitting below the belt.
And the big one. Roman Reigns lied about making you a star because he already picked Solo Sikoa to replace you, then capped it off with that really chilling, I love you, G, like family, but delivered with that cold calculation.
Less affection, more like a weapon, trying to plant those seeds of doubt.
Exactly. Psychological warfare 101 for Heyman.
But G wasn't just going to stand there and take it. You could feel that fire building up.
Oh, he grabbed that mic and came back hard, said family is everything, it's his foundation, why he's even there, he'll always step up.
And he pushed back on the idea he hadn't achieved anything, right? Mentioned the World Heavyweight title win.
Yep. Directly countered Heyman's digs. And then he turned it right back on Heyman, accusing him of betraying Roman at WrestleMania, costing Reigns a title shot.
And tie that into what was coming for Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed at SummerSlam, setting the stakes.
That whole explosive exchange just flowed right into the main event later that night, Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed.
Which Jey won, but by disqualification.
Right, because Bron Breakker ran in and just speared Jey. But the real story, the terrifying payoff to Heyman's words and Breakker's plan that came after the match ended.
Yeah, things got ugly fast. Breakker and Reed just kept hammering on Jey.
Then Roman's music hits, big pop. He storms the ring, clears house initially, helps Jey up. For a second, it looked like, okay, they're united.
But then they went outside to confront Breakker and Reed. And that was a mistake.
A huge mistake. Reigns eats a spear from Breakker. Then both Reigns and Uso get hit with multiple tsunamis from Reed. Just brutal offense.
And they weren't done. They threw both Roman and Jey straight through the barricade.
But the final image, that was the real twist of the knife. Reed literally taking off Roman Reigns' shoes and holding them up like a trophy.
What was that about? Just pure disrespect?
It's more than that. In Samoan culture, removing shoes can be significant, entering a sacred space, readiness for combat. But here, it felt like a symbolic stripping of Roman's authority, his power, his cultural standing, a public emasculation.
And Heyman just watching from the side, looking pleased.
Completely satisfied. Confirmed this whole thing was a calculated hit, undermining the very idea of the Bloodline right before their big SummerSlam match.
So this whole sequence, it's not just a beatdown, it's psychological warfare setting up that huge tag match.
Yeah.
Jey and Roman versus Reed and Breakker. The trust issues, the family drama.
Yeah.
It's all front and center now.
Absolutely. Deep-seated stuff.
Okay, so while that family drama is imploding, we've got another intense conflict brewing. A clash of ideologies, maybe, for the World Heavyweight Championship between Gunther and CM Punk.
Yeah, a totally different kind of intensity. Gunther started things off very confident, very dominant, bragging about beating Punk last week.
Said he looked Punk in the eye and left him speechless, right? Claimed Punk couldn't call himself best in the world anymore.
Exactly, just pure assertion of dominance. But then
Punk's music hits.
And Punk comes out, and he is anything but speechless. He gets right in Gunther's face.
What was his response?
Passionate, He flat out denied being speechless, and then he laid it bare. He said he needs that World Heavyweight Championship.
Needs it.
Yeah, like he needs air, like he needs blood in his veins. He literally called wrestling an addiction for him.
Wow, that's intense.
And he contrasted that raw need with Gunther, who he feels doesn't understand that kind of drive. Pope claimed he earned best in the world by beating guys Gunther could only dream of facing.
So it's Gunther's calculated dominance versus Punk's almost desperate raw need. That's a fascinating dynamic.
Couldn't be more different, right? Gunther's about methodical control, proving superiority. Punk seems to be fighting for something more fundamental, like a piece of his own identity.
Does that make Punk more dangerous? Because that kind of addiction-fueled motivation, it's unpredictable.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How does Gunther's precise, stoic style handle someone driven by that kind of raw, almost existential need? It's not just about skill versus skill anymore. It's about whether pure desperation can overcome calculated dominance.
Yeah, that adds a whole other layer to their SummerSlam match. Okay, moving on from those top-tier clashes, the women's division also saw some major shifts in storyline developments this week.
Definitely. Naomi, for instance, made it very clear backstage what her mindset is for SummerSlam.
What did she say?
She called her approach aggressively aggressive, said she sees too much passivity from others, and she's bringing the fight to Rhea Ripley and Io Sky.
Bold words.
Oh.
And do we see that play out?
Well, we had that big 8-woman tag match. It was Rhea, Io, Nikki Bella, and Stephanie Vacher against Naomi, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and Alba Fire.
Stacked match. Who got the win?
Stephanie Vacher actually pinned Alba Fire with her finisher, the SVB, got the win for her team.
Interesting. Vacher getting a pin in a match with champions like Rhea and Io.
Yeah.
That's a statement.
It really is. Maybe signaling her own rise. But speaking of Rhea and Io, even though they teamed up, their own tension was clear.
What happened there?
Backstage after the match, Rhea told Io, basically, friendship aside, I'm finally beating you at SummerSlam.
And Io's response?
Just grinned and reminded Rhea she never has beaten her and never will. So, friendly rivals, but the emphasis is definitely on rivals heading into that triple threat.
Yeah, that friendship has some sharp edges. We also saw Lyra Valkyria raising the stakes significantly for our match, didn't we?
Hugely. Her women's Intercontinental title match against Becky Lynch at SummerSlam now has a massive stipulation. Lyra wins the title, or she can never challenge Becky for it again. Win or go home, basically.
That's serious pressure.
And she acted like it too. Ambushed Becky backstage with a kendo stick, showing she's desperate and willing to do whatever it takes.
Then on the other end of the spectrum, we got Bayley.
Yeah, that was quite poignant, a backstage interview where she was just really open about her disappointment.
Missing WrestleMania, missing title shots, now missing SummerSlam.
Exactly. She admitted she feels lost, really for the first time in her career. That's rare vulnerability from someone like Bayley. Feels like she's at a real crossroads.
Definitely something to watch. Okay, outside of the title pictures, lots of other feuds were simmering or boiling over too. Sheamus and Rusev, for example.
Right, Sheamus beat Rusev last week, but that clearly wasn't the end of it.
No. This week, Grayson Waller tried to get involved after his whole split with Theory and brief flirtation with the New Day.
Yeah, Waller, who the New Day apparently ditched pretty fast, confronted Sheamus. Sheamus then beat Waller in a singles match. Rusev tried to distract Sheamus, but it didn't work.
But Rusev got his payback after the match.
Oh, yeah. Attacked Sheamus with a shillelagh, locked in the accolade. Officials had to break it up.
So that feud's definitely continuing.
Rusev confirmed it later. Rematch next week. It's personal now, clearly about more than just a win or loss. It's about humiliation and dominance.
And speaking of the New Day, what was their take after ditching Waller?
They were backstage, hyping up Waller, splitting from Theory, and just being their usual selves, declaring themselves the best tag team in WWE. Classic New Day positivity.
Never change, New Day. What about the Judgment Day? They seem pretty busy this week.
Very busy. Started with a recap of Dom Mysterio attacking AJ Styles last week.
Which led to that big mixed tag match.
Yep. 6-person mixed tag, AJ Styles and the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane against Judgment Day's Dom, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez.
And AJ got the win.
AJ pinned Dominic clean. A pretty big win for Styles and a tough loss for Judgment Day, especially Dom taking the fall again.
How did that affect the group dynamic? Did we see them backstage?
We did. Got a peek inside the clubhouse. Finn Balor and JD McDonough were prepping for their tag title defense later. Finn was trying to kind of cheer everyone up after the loss.
Any other interesting bits in there?
Yeah, Roxanne Perez gave Dominic a handheld game console, which he seemed to love. And then Dom immediately mentioned wanting to call Liv Morgan.
So that's still simmering.
And definitely shows a bit of their weird camaraderie, but also Dom's lingering obsession.
And then Balor and McDonough had their title match.
Yes, defended the World Tag Team Championships against LWO Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro.
How'd that go?
Judgment Day retained, but it wasn't clean. There was interference from El Grande Americano.
Wait, the El Grande Americano?
Well, that's a question. One interfered and brawled with Dragon Lee out of the arena, but then a second, smaller El Grande Americano appeared and caused the final distraction that let JD get the pin.
Two of them. What's going on there?
Exactly. Is it a faction? A new Judgment Day tactic? How many are there? It adds a whole layer of mystery to Judgment Day's operations. Who are these guys, really?
Intriguing. Okay, one more backstage interaction to cover. Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross.
Yeah, pretty tense. Sammy basically said he hopes that their SummerSlam match is the end of it. He wants to be done with Kross.
And Kross's response? Probably something cryptic and menacing?
You guessed it. Kross demanded that if he wins, Sammy has to admit Kross was right all along.
Oof. What did Sami say to that?
Sammy flipped it. He said if he wins, Kross will be the one left questioning everything he believes. So it's not just a match, it's a battle for psychological validation. The loser faces a crisis of self.
Man, the stakes are high everywhere you look. Were there any other quick things to mention from the show?
Just a couple of quick hits. They showed a trailer for that new Netflix series WWE Unreal. Promises a behind-the-scenes look.
Oh yeah, that looks interesting. A peek behind the curtain always adds another layer, doesn't it? Especially with how WWE blends reality and story.
For sure. Could be fascinating to see how that plays out and maybe even influences how fans see things.
And the other thing,
just a quick soundbite from Kathy Kelly interviewing Jelly Roll. He stated very clearly that he does not like Logan Paul.
Huh. Okay. Short, sweet, and to the point. Another potential celebrity crossover down the line, maybe.
Never know in WW.
So wrapping this deep dive up, Raw, #1679. It really wasn't just a go-home show filling time, was it?
Not at all. This laid out everything. The alliances, the betrayals, the deep personal reasons driving everyone towards SummerSlam. It wasn't just about wins and losses.
It felt like a masterclass in, well, wrestling psychology, that long-term storytelling and just the raw emotion behind these fights.
Absolutely. Everything felt like it had weight, pushing towards those SummerSlam conclusions.
So for you listening, here's something to chew on as we head towards the biggest party of the summer. In this world where family is a weapon and addiction is fuel, just how far will these superstars go? What lines will they cross at SummerSlam to get what they desire?
And how will these complex plans, like whatever Heyman and Breaker cooked up, ripple outwards? Can anyone really be trusted when ambition is this high? It's going to be quite a ride at SummerSlam.